Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today we're carrying on with like this little book recommendations series? Is it a series? Could it be a series? I don't know, but I did some fantasy standalone recommendations last week, week before, sometime in the past. And today I'm bringing you some fantasy series. Wait, hold on, did I say I did fantasy series? I meant to say I did fantasy standalones, and today is fantasy series. I can't remember what I just said, but I did fantasy standalones, now I'm doing fantasy series recommendations, so we're gonna dive right in. And, hold on. To the surprise of literally no one, my first recommendation is the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy by Stephanie Garber. So this is a cheeky little trilogy. These are my US standard hardcover editions. I have an embarrassing amount of editions, I guess you could say. But then also I'm not as bad as some people, because some people have, like with the UK Waterstones editions, when they were first published they had exclusive foil covers and there were 4 different designs, and some people bought all 4, whereas I was good and I've just got the ones, but now I kind of wish I'd got all 4. I'm such a hoarder, but it's fine. So these are my US hardcover editions, just because I think most of you are in the US, so you'll recognise these covers. But yeah, also they were at the top of the box. All my books are packed away right now because we're doing some renovating. That makes it sound fancier than it is, but we're just getting stuff done, so they're packed away. These editions were at the top of the box. So yeah, it's a trilogy, and it starts with Once Upon a Broken Heart, and then the second book is The Ballad of Never After, and then finally we have A Curse for True Love, which only came out in October, so she's new. So yeah, you guys know I talk about her a lot. You guys know I post about her on my Instagram a lot. It's my favourite series ever. I love it. I can't help it. I'll read you the blurb of numero uno. I won't read you the blurb of the other 2 because spoilers. I mean, I'm sure I've read this on my channel like at least twice, but we're gonna do it again. So this is how far would you go for happily ever after? For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in true love and happy endings, until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding and to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses, to be given at a time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with him immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more than she pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. I've definitely read that at least twice on here. So yeah, that is Once Upon a Broken Heart. It's romance, it's got some adventure in there, a female protagonist, she falls for the villain, but he doesn't stay. It's just very, very cute, especially The Ballad of Never After. I spoke about this in my most recent 1-star Goodreads reaction video, but The Ballad of Never After everyone says is like the best in the trilogy, and I don't know, I think I'd agree. There's a couple chapters between Jax and Evangeline that just every time giggling, screaming, in love, like I love it. So yeah, if you want some fantasy romance with some adventure sprinkled in, but it's more of a love story, 100% I would say, but it does have the elements of the adventure. But yeah, it's just really cute. I love it. So if you're into that, pick her up. But the next series I'm going to talk about is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. So Caraval comprises of the first one being Caraval, and then Legendary, and then finally Finale. So the reason I said but is because Caraval and Once Upon a Broken Heart are set in the same universe, and the start of Once Upon a Broken Heart talks about how Caraval ends, more or less. There's bits that it doesn't say, obviously, and also because Jax is in Caraval and then goes on to be in Once Upon a Broken Heart, it obviously talks about his story in Caraval. So if you are out here being like, oh, I've heard of Caraval, I've heard of Once Upon a Broken Heart, like, oh, I really want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, but then I've been holding off because I think I should read Caraval first. I'm here to explain some things to you. So, I get lots of people in my Instagram DMs, in my Instagram comments, in my TikTok comments. The lighting's gone really bad, guys. Sorry, it was really sunny when I started filming. Oh. Anyway, but yeah, I get lots of people. Oh, I just knocked my books on the floor. I get lots of people saying, I want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart. Do I have to read Caraval first? And my answer is no. Because they are completely separate stories. Like, the first couple chapters of Once Upon a Broken Heart maybe talk about Caraval. Like, literally there's like 2 chapters in Once Upon a Broken Heart where like Caraval characters that aren't Jax are there. And then throughout, like, Jax does bring up his past with Donatella and stuff like that. But it's not necessary. You're not going to be hella confused. Stephanie Garber wrote them to stand separately but also work coherently together. But yeah, so if you don't have any interest in reading Caraval, you're only thinking about reading it because you thought you had to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, I'm here to tell you that you don't, my friends. But that being said, if you know you want to read Caraval, but you're thinking maybe I'll read Once Upon a Broken Heart first, I would recommend going with Caraval first. Because if you're like, I definitely want to read it, like, obviously then you don't want the spoilers that come with Once Upon a Broken Heart, you know? So that is what I would say in answer to that question. I just realised I never read you the blurb of Caraval. The quote at the very top, it says, remember, it's all a game. What happens beyond this gate may frighten or excite you, but don't let any of it trick you. Once a year, the infamous Master Legend hosts Caraval, open only to those who have been invited. This year, the week-long game is on Legend's glittering Isla de los Sueños. Was that good Spanish? I don't know. Where the winding streets are an elaborate snow-covered maze and people are never who they seem. At midnight on the first day, the show begins and the visitors become players. Each of them is vying for the coveted prize, a single wish. All they must do is unravel the mystery of Caraval, but in a game where danger hides behind every charming smile, winning isn't without loss, and their wish might be their last. This is like the Night Circus, where the blurb doesn't give anything away to the plot. Like, it doesn't mention Tella and Scarlet at all, which is so interesting. But where Once Upon a Broken Heart is definitely, I'd say, more romantasy, with like adventure is like, it's not the side plot, but like it's more about the love story and the romance. Once Upon a Broken Heart, I would say. With Caraval, what was I saying? With Caraval, it's less about romantic love, I'd say. It's a lot more about Scarlet and Tella, their sisters. It's a lot more about their sisterly love, their sisterly relationship. It's a lot more about the adventure. So yeah, those are those two. If you have no interest in reading Caraval but you know you want to read Once Upon a Broken Heart, do not fret. You can read it without having read Caraval. They're not that linked that you would be confused. Because I get that question all the time, so I knew that I wanted to speak about it in this video with these books, so that people are in the know. So these girlies, they don't have their dust jackets, they are naked. Because it's a long story, but let's talk about them first. Hold on. So we're going to talk about the Waterfire Saga by Jennifer Donnelly. So this is a, what's the word? It's got 4 books. It's like a quadrilogy? Quadrology? I don't know. There's 4 of them. Okay, so the first one is Deep Blue. The second one is Rogue Wave. The third one is Dark Tide. And then finally we have Sea Spell. So the reasons that these girlies are naked and not in their dust jackets is because I got the first 2 in hardback when they first came out, I think they came out when I was like 12, 13. So I took them to school as my reading books, like as they were coming out. And then the third one came out, and I remember my mum got it for me in paperback. And I never read it because it didn't match my other ones, because I wanted it to be in hardback the same. But like, bless my mum, she just didn't want to spend like bloody £20 on a book, which, like, fair play. But even back then, all my editions had to match, and the fact that it was in paperback and not in hardback, I didn't read it. And then when I started getting back into reading when I was in university, I was like, I want to read the Waterfire Saga, but I need to find the hardbacks. So I found them on this website called World of Books, which is a great place for getting secondhand books, BT dubs. Oh, she's back. Hello, son. But yeah, great place for getting secondhand books. Some of them are in immaculate condition. Some of them are like basically new. But basically it doesn't tell you it's not going to come with a dust jacket. So I think it's Sea Spell didn't come with the dust jacket. So I'm like, well, I can't have 3 on my shelf with a dust jacket and then 1 without. Like, no, so they all have to be naked, basically. But here is what they look like. I'm putting pictures on the screen right now. I don't know where I'm going to put them, so I'm just going to vibe. But yeah, this is what they look like. If you search for them, this is the photo that will come up. These is what they would all look like if they all had their dust jackets. Bless their little souls. Yeah, so... Oh, wait, no, I don't have the blurb because I don't have the dust jacket. Oh. So I'll read you the synopsis of Deep Blue. I think these were commissioned like in, what's the word, in like collaboration with Disney, which, slay for Jennifer Donnelly. It's like YA. Oh, it's actually put on Waterstones, it's listed as children's 9 to 12, so yeah. But I read them when they first came out when I was like 12, 13. The first 2, and then I reread the whole series when I was like 19, and I still loved it. So age means nothing when it comes to books, unless you're like 6 and reading 50 Shades of Grey, then that's a problem. But other than like in those situations, it doesn't matter. Okay. When Seraphina, a mermaid of the Mediterranean Sea, awakens on the morning of her betrothal, her biggest worry should be about reuniting with handsome Prince... I don't know how you say his name, but this is how I always said it. I always said it in my head as Maddie. But if that's not how you say it and you know how to say it, let me know in the comments how, like, phonetically I should actually pronounce it, because I would like to know. But I've always said it in my head as Maddie. Her childhood crush. Instead, she finds herself haunted by strange dreams foretelling the return of an ancient evil, and dealing with the deaths of her parents as assassins storm the betrothal ceremony, plunging the city into chaos. Led only by her shadowy dreams and pursued by the invading army, Seraphina and her best friend Neela embark on a quest to avenge her parents' death and prevent a war between the mer nations. In the process, they discover a plot that threatens their and our world's very existence. It's very good. Lots of adventure. Like, so much adventure. It's so good. And they, like, find all these other mermaids. They're all friends. They all got to go on this quest. And there's, like, yeah. It's so good. So good. I don't know what more to say that isn't spoilers, because all I can think to say is like going to be a spoiler. So it just is good. Lots of mermaidy adventures. It's very quick and easy read because obviously, you know, it's for younger kids. It's just so good though. It's so good. It's so good. Read it. Okay, now we are back to the trilogies, and we have the Scholomance series by Naomi Novik. So again, she's a trilogy. So the first one is A Deadly Education, then The Last Graduate, and the final one is the Golden Enclaves. I think that's how you say that word. I always said it as enclaves. Maybe it's enclaves, but I said enclaves for some reason. That's how I pronounce it. So this first one, it looks so battered, and I finally remembered why, because when I pulled it out of the box, I was like, what's happened to you? Because I'm very specific about the condition that I keep my books in, and I was like, what the frick happened to you? It's because this one is also from World of Books. I was just browsing on my Waterstones app, I think, at one point, and this special edition of The Last Graduate came up. And so I click, and it doesn't say like, oh, it's a series or whatever. So you click on it and go on the synopsis, and it says like, oh, the second installment. And I was like, oh no, I need to find the first installment. And it wasn't available in hardback anymore, of course, because it was like the second one was coming out, why would the first one still be in hardback? That's not how books work. So I was very lucky to find this one on World of Books. I mean, the dust jacket leaves a lot to be desired, on the front anyway, but these ones are all spine on, so it doesn't matter, the spine is pretty good. But yeah, I had a heart attack when I pulled this out of the box because I was like, what has happened? What's going on? Is how it came. So let's read you the blurb of the first one, if it will open. Can you open? Can you beat? Thank you. So Naomi Novik is a New York Times bestseller. Just saying, guys. Just saying. She's that girl. Enter a school of magic unlike any you have ever encountered. There are no teachers, no holidays, friendships are purely strategic, and the odds of survival are never equal. Once you're inside, there are only two ways out. You graduate or you die. Elle Higgins is uniquely prepared for the school's many dangers. She may be without allies, but she possesses a dark power strong enough to level mountains and wipe out untold millions. Never mind easily destroy the countless monsters that prowl the school. Except, she might accidentally kill all the other students too. So Elle is trying her hardest not to use it. That is, unless she has no other choice. With flawless mastery, Naomi Novik creates a heroine for the ages, a character so sharply realised and so richly nuanced that she will live on in hearts and minds for generations to come. Are you guys sold? You should be. It's really good. Very, very strong female main character. It's basically like, it's like an evil Hogwarts, is how I always describe it to people. The school is like alive, or it's like it's conscious, kind of like there's no teachers, but like the school just like magically gives you like your lessons and your homework, and it grades your homework. Like somehow there was like spells put on it that like it functions that way. But basically there's all the monsters kind of end up getting into the school and like trying to kill the students, sometimes successfully killing the students, because they explain it that like they're attracted to the magic, and yeah. But yeah, there's so much happens in this trilogy. There's like so much going on. There's like so much going on. Actually, I remember the first line of this book is what really hooked me. I'll read you the very first sentence. Okay, you ready? I decided that Orion needed to die after the second time he saved my life. First sentences in books, just that something about them. And like sometimes they're so good. Like this one's so good. So good. And I remember reading that being like, oh okay, here we go. I'm here for this. Yeah, they're so good. I don't know how else to say it other than that. So much adventure and like danger, and yeah, and the world building's really good. The way she sets out the rules for magic, because the rules for magic in this book are unlike any I have like ever read in terms of like wizards and witches and stuff like that. Like she's created a whole, I mean it might be inspired by other things, maybe other books are like that, I don't know, but to me this is a whole new rule of magic, and the way magic works in this world, and it's just explained so well, and it's just so immersive. It's just really good. Lots of danger, lots of action. There is of course some romance. I'm not going to read it, there's no romance, guys, come on. Like there is of course some romance, but it's not like the main focus. And yeah, it's really beautiful. And Elle's like character development, the character development of like a lot of the main characters actually is just really beautiful, really well done. Character arcs on point. I feel like I just fangirled about this more than I fangirled about Once Upon a Broken Heart. So next we're going to talk about a cheeky little duology. It is the Letters of Enchantment series by Rebecca Ross. So it has Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. Guys, they're so good. It's like a teen YA fantasy. I'll read you the blurb of, again, just the first one. When two rival journalists find love through a magical connection, their fate depends on their facing the depths of hell together. After centuries of sleep, the gods are warring again. All 18-year-old Iris Winner wants to do is hold her family together, with a brother forced to fight on the behalf of the gods, now missing from the front line, and a mother drowning her sorrows. Iris's best bet is winning the columnist promotion at the Oath Gazette. But when Iris's letters to her brother fall into the wrong hands, those of the handsome but cold Roman Kit, I love that man, her arrival at the paper, an unlikely magical connection forms. Expelled into the middle of a mystical war, typewriters in tow, can their bond withstand the fight for the fate of mankind and, most importantly, love? An epic enemies to lovers fantasy novel filled with hope and heartbreak and the unparalleled power of love. I wouldn't say they're enemies, I think that's taking it a bit far. They're banter as rivals. I think enemies is a strong word for their relationship. But still, it's like rivals to lovers. I think rivals is a better word than enemies. They're not enemies. But yeah, it's really cute. I'm gonna read you because I remember reading the first page of this book and being like, I'm sold, I'm immersed, I'm here, I love it. Cold fog had settled over the depot like a burial shroud, and Iris Winnow thought the weather couldn't have been better. She could hardly see the train through the gloom, but she could taste it in the evening air, metal and smoke and burning coal, all woven together with a trace of petrichor. Don't know how you say that. The wooden platform was slick beneath her shoes, gleaming with rain puddles and piles of decaying leaves. Set the scene, yes queen! So good, so good. I cried. She tugged on my heartstrings. But she's cute. She is cute. But yeah, I did cry. But it is really good. And I just want somebody to write me love letters. Boyfriend, if you're watching this, write me love letters. I want love letters, man. Okay, finally we're going to talk about a series that I have not finished. But I'm loving. It's my current read. It is the Twin Crowns series by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Weber. So the first one is Twin Crowns, and then it's Cursed Crowns, and then the final one is Burning Crowns, which actually isn't out yet. She comes out in a week. So yeah, I'm reading the series now. I've nearly finished Twin Crowns, and guys, it's so good. Listen to this blurb. Two sisters, one crown. Princess Rose Valhai is heir to the throne of Iana. Trained from birth to fear the witches that killed her parents, she will do anything to defend her kingdom. Stolen from the palace at birth, Ren Greenrock is the secret sister no one knows about. She plots to usurp the princess in order to protect the witches of Ortha who raised her. In the battle for the crown of Iana, where will your allegiances lie? And then my queen, Stephanie Garber, she provided a quote for the back of the book, and she said, "An absolute delight from start to finish, Twin Crowns is a dazzling gem of a book, magical, clever, surprising, and pure fun." And that's what Miss Garber said. So, in Miss Garber we trust. Hello. So yeah, it's so good, guys. Like, the character development, unmatched. It's so good. The little love stories. I think my favourite is Rose, to the surprise of probably no one if you've read the book. I think my favourite is Rose. I think she has the best character arc. I think she has the best romance. Like, I love her. Ren's okay. Like, I don't dislike Ren, but like Rose is my girly. I just love it so much. Every chapter, like, you swap point of view. So like a chapter will end on a cliffhanger from Rose's point of view, and then obviously the next chapter is Ren, so you're like, ugh, what's happening to Rose? And then like Ren's chapter will end on a cliffhanger, you're like, but now I need to know what happens to Ren. And it's just, I mean, that's probably why I've like nearly finished it in like a couple days, because I just cannot put it down, because I'm like, what, God, I need to know. So very clever the way they did that, but it's so good. It's so good. It's so well written. I cannot believe that it was written by two people, because the writing style is coherent throughout. I don't know if maybe one wrote Rose and one wrote Ren. I don't really know, but I can't tell. The writing style is just so coherent. It's so good. It's beautiful. It's so immersive. It's stunning. Stunning. So that is it for today's video. Those are all the series that I have to talk about with you today. Yeah. I hope you read Once Upon a Broken Heart. If you like literally can only read one series from this video, read Once Upon a Broken Heart. Unless you don't like it, then I don't want to know. I don't, la 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 la. I do not hear negativity about that series. No. But yeah, please subscribe if you haven't already. Follow my Instagram, the link's in the description. Follow my TikTok, my username's in the description. And give this video a thumbs up. Leave me a cute little comment. Let's chat, let's be friends. And I will see you in my next video. Bye!